Welcome everyone! Welcome to another preview of an early access game. This is MetalCanyon, and we'll be checking out a game by Apoapsis Studios called Airport CEO. Now, I love building and management games like RimWorld, like Prison Architect. I love building all these systems that work together, or like Factorio, for example, even though I'm not very good at Factorio. But I love these types of games, and I've been looking at Airport CEO for, well, quite a few months now. I've been rather interested in the game, and now I've contacted the developer, and here we go. We'll be doing a little bit of a preview. Now, this is still an early access game, and as you might have guessed it, yes, you build and manage your own airport. And come on. Airplanes and airports, it's just awesome. They're awesome. So let's continue a game. Let me start with my very first airport. I will show you consecutively, bigger and better airports that I've been building. I've done 3 airports. Well, 4 technically, but I've just gotten rid of one immediately because it was just bad. The first thing you have to learn about this game is that it is sort of more of a simulation than Prison Architect in a way. It tries to be a little bit more realistic in the way that you have to take care of all of these systems, the various things, well, maybe, there's no power generation or stuff like that. Obviously, airports, I don't think they have, well, actually, they might have their own power backup generators. But anyway, I digress. The idea is to build an airport, manage it, make a profit, make it larger, and so on and so forth. And the really cool thing with this is that you just start with this part. That's it. This part of the road and these 2 depots over here. One for workers and one for raw materials that they bring. So you're not given a free not a freeway. You're not given a oh bloody hell, what am I, a runway. I'm forgetting all the words. I do apologize. You're not given, you're not given a token airport and then, build a terminal and stuff like that. No, you build everything, and I love that. Also, one of the first things I've noticed is that despite this being an early access game, the UI is absolutely amazingly polished. I mean, you've got your little clicks as you hover over things. You've got different clicks when you click on things. Yeah, some of these icons might use a little bit of work still, but these icons, for example, here are brilliant. And you've got all this stuff, for example, if you press tab, you've got your dashboard, your email, data, there's a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, I require a CIO for this. I'll go into that in just a few moments. But there's a lot of things you can do with this, and it's actually very useful indeed. There's my vehicles, there's my operations, where you can choose stuff for your airport. Like, for example, you can open it, close it, says enable security, ramp agents, refueling services, and so on and so forth. And I'm very happy to say that there is also quite a good and extensive tutorial for this game. I didn't think there would be one. There's some people over here already waiting. And if you go to the tutorial, you've got the small airfield, regional airport, and international airport. I'm sure they will add more as they add more features, but you click on the small airfield and it will give you a step-by-step of what to do. And you have checklists, and the game will recognize if you've, created or signed a contract. It'll do a check. So it's really nice. And after you're done with that, you can go on to the next step, and it'll show you how to make your basic airport and then a larger airport and so on and so forth. It'll pretty much teach you almost everything in the game. So that is very, very good. Now, the other thing is how the game looks. I really, really like how the game looks. If you zoom in, there's actually a lot of details all of a sudden. So, you're thinking, okay, there's planes and stuff, but no. When you zoom in, there's a lot of details. You can see everyone's luggage, people are sitting down, getting up. These are actually 3D models as far as I can see. There's, look, little keyboards, mice. So a lot of the stuff you can you can enjoy, because even though most of the time you'll be managing your airport from this perspective, for example, you can zoom in and enjoy the sounds and sights. And in fact, there's even more stuff. Over here, if you can see some skid marks and such, this is when, you know, your parking spaces or stands, aircraft stands, and other things get used. So, for example, this runway over here is in 99% condition. Both of them are, actually. But yeah, they get used, and you can see the, you know, skid marks and everything on there. So it's pretty cool. So, there's my ATC tower. If we zoom in. The only thing I would really wish is for the sound effects to be more prevalent. So, because you'll most of the time be playing this game from this zoom level, because you're obviously managing and building, you will rarely really hear any of the, you know, engines and maybe people or announcements. There actually isn't any announcements yet in the game, but that would be pretty awesome, you know. And of course, it would be nice if you had an option to maybe silence some of the stuff and so on. Anyway, like I said, this is early access, and this guy's only one light. Interesting. Maybe that's intended. So, I will show you my my journey from starting out... Wait a second. Is this really my first airfield? I think it is, yeah. Yeah, I'll show you how I started out and started learning the mechanics and, you know, built a new airport because I learned more mechanics and how to better build... What the hell? Oh my god, yeah, you can see already a problem I made here. So I have airplanes going this way, taxiing this way, but they have to taxi all the way across this runway to to take off from the other side. That's ridiculous. What I should have done, obviously, is that I should have landed over here, maybe, and went over here, and then take off from here. So yeah, you know, this is a very small airport. I have general aviation and some of these commercial flights over here, which, you know, you start with very small ones. So, for example, this airplane will only take 15 people. And this is also a really cool thing. You can click on stuff and you get a lot of information, like it's parked at the moment, what the manufacturer is, model, weight class, what's the inspection progress. Now, I don't have a... Do I have a refueling service? Yes, I do, but they did not request it. Oh yeah, because these guys, the general aviation, usually request refueling. Anyway, man, you know... When I went to sleep yesterday, I was thinking of what to say about this game, and I had a lot of good things, and then when you start recording, I'm just... I cannot apparently speak English anymore coherently, so I do apologize about that. Anyway, let's go to my second airport, where I figured, you know, I've done things wrong. Let's improve stuff, especially as far as traffic goes. So there we go. Nope. Okay, so as this is pretty cool. See, this runway will need repairing soon. It's been used quite a lot, and this is all grass, by the way. You know, these are the very basic taxiways, runways, and all of that. But you can see that I've done a bit better here. I have one runway, which admittedly is quite heavily used, because, you know, it's used for both landing and taking off. There's some errors here at the moment. This plane should not be taking off yet because that one is still there. They do make sure that the runway is cleared. There is no collision at the moment in the game. I don't know if there will be collisions or not, but we'll see. There's also a bus over here, a shuttle, coming over to this remote stand where they will pick up passengers or drop them off. I'm not sure yet. Just ignore the stuff on the left for the moment. It's just... Can I... No, never mind. So there we go. It parks, opens the doors, and passengers arrive and get into the plane. Obviously, this one only carries 5 passengers, apparently, for this flight. But, you know, this is the really cool thing. You will see all of your stuff, everything working, all the intricacies. You know, planes taxiing, buses. Where are you going? What? Oh, he's going to pick up another... Oh, interesting. I thought they always want to go back to the vehicle depot, but no. He's going to pick up some passengers from this plane. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, anyway, you see that, you know, this is a lot more fluent here. I've got one little roundabout, you know, planes taking off and landing, then going around, finding their stand, or parking space, if you will. There's people arriving from this airplane. And then when they have to leave, they have one way to go over here and take off. Now, this is a pretty good system to begin with, but it does use your runway quite heavily with this amount of spaces. Now, what I did later on is I disabled all of these ones because these ones closest to the terminal I use for commercial flights. And these ones that are not next to terminals, I use for general aviation, which do not have passengers as such. You know, they're private planes. Although in this airport, you can see that I do have buses picking people up and trying to bring them to remote stands, which have commercial flights. But I've learned later on, and I will explain why, that's not the best idea. You can see some vehicles stuck here. I'll get into that later on as well. You also have your, you know, security checkpoints, people waiting as per usual, you know, for check-in. This is where they will check in, and then they will go through security checks and wait in the secure area, which, as you can see, is here. All of these areas in the terminal are secure areas. But let me show you the next airport. Now, this is my final airport, which I have been successfully building now for quite a while. And I guess it's not too soon that I can say that I already really enjoy this game, Airport CEO. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I love how you can build your airport from the ground up. You know, say, whoa, why is this completely empty? Oh yeah, because it's nighttime. Yeah, I am not allowed to fly, to have planes arrive at nighttime until 5 in the morning, and then from 10 in the evening afterwards. That's my restricted time, which can be lifted, but you know, more about that later. Anyway, let me just speed things up. Where's that going? Oh yeah, that's bringing materials in. So this is my final airport now. You can see that I did the same design here because, you know, it just worked. So I have my general aviation here, and I have all my commercial flights apart from this one over here. Now you can see that I did the terminals right next to these. You can do remote commercial flights, but that requires you to have shuttle buses. And, you know, shuttle buses, bus stops in the service area. This is my checkpoint, by the way. These are the public roads, and this is the checkpoint where, you know, the public is not allowed because this is the restricted area, and these are all, well, grass service roads, even though they're covered in snow pretty much now. But the remote stands don't really work very well at the moment, and I will get into that later on. Look at all this stuff on here. That's pretty cool. I will get into that later on, and I will explain what's going on. But anyway, let's see how this airport has progressed from this into something much larger and much more successful. This load will probably take a little bit longer because it's a slightly bigger airport. And when I say slightly, I mean, you know, slightly bigger airport. And I have to say that I've enjoyed pretty much every minute of building it, apart from when I got frustrated with the game's AI. And I will explain that. All right. Go on, loading items. But I have to say, the tutorial is brilliant. It really gives you the ropes. There we go. Now, the game does bog down a little bit, but look at this airport. This is still the same airport. I've just upgraded everything to concrete now. We've got lots and lots of people coming and going. I've got my baggage claim over here, which is kind of small, to be honest. I've got big airplanes coming here with the jetways. I've got pushback cars, service cars. I've got the baggage bay over here, and you know, conveyor belts. I've got these little baggage cars. These medium stands are very expensive, by the way. Also, the runways are a lot longer now because they need to accommodate the bigger planes. And of course, you know, they're concrete. They're required to be concrete now. And look at all the people waiting now. Oh, I can build a jetway here. Boop. There we go. Because no planes were coming here yet. So there we go. That's cool. Alright, see, this plane was being refueled over here, only to 30%. I'm not exactly sure why. But, oh well, it was. Ugh, I gotta click somewhere where I don't click on something. I really enjoy how at night everything lights up. You know, the little windows, the cockpit. And of course, yeah, there's no collision, so these guys don't actually wait. Because obviously they would need to ask ATC for permission to cross taxiways or runways and so on. So none of that. Now, actually, I never actually checked. Can you cross runways? No, you cannot. That's a bit odd. You should be able to. I suppose, well, there is a way. You can put a taxiway across a runway and then put a service road across the taxiway, which is not exactly completely realistic, but, you know, like I said, this is only early access, but look at the amount of people. It's pretty crazy. Now, like I said, for this being an early access game, it runs pretty damn well. It's at this point when I have lots and lots of people is when the game has started bogging down a little bit. Now, there is an option which allows you to reduce the passengers per flight ratio. Which means that after the ratio of alters the ratio of passengers per flight. 100% is realistic passenger count for each aircraft type. A reduced value may increase performance. So I'm assuming you still get the same amount of money, but you know, just the visual feedback of passengers is reduced. So you have, you know, less people walking around. And considering, I don't know, are they still 3D here? Are they being rendered in 3D, or are they just pre-rendered things that appear as sprites? I don't know, but it might have something to do with it, because it's the people, the amount of people that really bogged the game down a little bit. So, you know, but hey, Prison Architect, before they did the big optimization pass, was also, it ran like dog poopy, okay? And after the optimization, it was much, much better. So I'm hoping they will do that for this game as well. But like I said, I do have to say that until you get to this sized airport, which I guess it's very easy if you'll play on Sandbox. I don't. I like to actually make my own money and, you know, work within the constraints of that said budget. But if you play in Sandbox, it's much easier to create a very, very big airport. Look at this. They're going to take the baggage. Now, this is the really cool thing. When you zoom in... Oh, they won't. When you zoom in, you know, there's my ramp agents inspecting airplanes. Yeah, that wasn't very realistic. They were pushed back before the agents could get out of the way. But when airplanes dock, or should I say park, look, you've got the GPUs and the APU to make sure, you know, they've got electricity without running their own APUs. You've got the pushback cart or service truck over here. It's just really cool. It's just awesome watching all of this working. And an even more awesome thing is that, you know, you've built everything from the ground up. Everything you see here, apart from, like I said, this little part of the road, of the public road, and these two stands for the depots, which you can move, by the way. Everything has been built by moi. So it's really satisfying to watch all of this, you know. And like I said, in operations, you can select everything, what you will do, how you will do it, blah, blah, blah. You can procure the various fuel trucks and, you know, upgrades for, like, baggage, conveyor belts, food franchises, shops, and so on and so forth. Buy service cars. It's really cool. And also, a very interesting thing is, unlike other games where you just buy or unlock technologies, over here you've also got contracts. So these are my accepted contracts. I have to accept a contract for, you know, builders, so I can build. And every contract will have details like maximum deployable builders, 83, and how much each one is paid per hour, $6.50. Not very much, you know. But you can scour the contracts for something better, for example. And that one at the moment is better. I also changed my fueling company because Fuel & Go has much cheaper fuel per liter. For both aviation and jet fuel. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, you get... Well, here I've got lots of shops and restaurants contracts as well. And you also sign contracts with airlines. So they actually can use your airport. Now, if I go to over here, you can see these are all the airlines. I mean, all the flights that are scheduled. This is the current time. You know, and will be arriving and so on and so forth. Now, unfortunately, you can see that, oh my god, the satisfaction of these airlines is about 0%. I will explain that. Why? But, so, you know, I've been gushing about just how awesome and detailed this game is. Now, let's get on to the negatives. The only reason why I cannot... recommend you this game at this very moment is because of the horrendous pathing issues. This has been the single reason why I was not able to really fully enjoy the game, even though, like I said, I still love it to bits. It's brilliant, but the pathing issues really destroy the fun at times. So, for example, this airport has been doing great. However, why is everyone so unhappy? Well, the answer is simple. The pathing issue will cause people, will cause vehicles, will cause aircraft to get stuck sometimes. You know, service vehicles and buses. Everything. Everything that moves, and baggage included, I forgot that one, will get stuck for sometimes no apparent reason. So what can happen? Let me show you why this is so bad. So, for example, I think this is actually why my airport is doing so bad at the moment. When these buses arrive, right? Let me speed this up. When these buses arrive, there we go. They bring passengers because passengers are going to be flying, and they also take some people that have arrived on the airport. Now, this happens. For some reason, even though there are empty spaces for the buses, this bus has decided that he will not have any other spaces. This is my space, and you're getting out of here. So, what can happen is that one vehicle will completely bog down all the others. And that's what has happened with this airport, for example. Well, it's happened many times, but this is what has happened here. I had a bus just get stuck for some reason. I didn't notice it, and then the people over here, you can see them completely stacked on each other. They got stacked so badly, the entire airport came to a stop because of it. No passengers were arriving, hence no airplanes were leaving, and also no airplanes were arriving because the airplanes were still on their stands occupying the spaces. And of course, the airlines got very angry because none of their airplanes were actually making money, and I was not making any money as well. And the problem doesn't just go to people and cars. Like I said, service cars can get often stuck as well, bogging everything down. And, you know, if one fuel truck gets stuck, then they will also baggage cars will get stuck, service cars will get stuck, pushback cars will get stuck, stair trucks will get stuck. It just all is a huge domino effect that is horrendous. Wow, look at all these baggage cars. Oh, yeah, they are loading them here. That's pretty interesting. Well, sort of loading them. They're just stuck there. Not sure. Let's see what's going on here. Boarding not started. Baggage loading in progress. Okay. I think they're waiting for ramp agents, and I think I am severely lacking in ramp agents. Yes, 28 jobs. Yeah, that's also an issue. You have to keep an eye on that. That's not the game's problem. That's my problem. I have to get way more ramp agents so they can load and unload. Anyway, so a big problem is also taxiing. So, for example, you can see that over here I've got a system. Ignore this taxiway. It's not really important because I've decided before I had this runway as the landing one. You can set that, by the way. Everything can be set. That's very nice. You can customize it. This one was for landing only, and then, you know, they parked wherever they liked or wherever they were assigned to, and this one was only for taking off. However, with this many aircraft over here, it just got bogged down a little bit. So I've decided to cut this into two halves. Over here, I've got the small planes and the general aviation for both landing and taking off, and over here, landing and taking off for these big commercial planes. And this works pretty well. Unfortunately, a lot of the times when there's a lot of traffic, the AI for the pathing of the taxiing planes is just weird. For example, a plane will land, come over here, and then wait over here. It'll hold short of this taxiway, and there's no plane in sight. And then I will go, why are you waiting? And then I will see that there is one plane over here being pushed back. And that plane over here, for some reason, is behind the queue of this one. And it'll wait for this one to get pushed back, go all the way back here. Well, back then when I had that one as the departure runway, it'll go here, 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 here. And then, only then, this airplane will decide to go through. You know, it makes no sense. Even if that plane wanted to go over here, for example, it had plenty of time to go there and park. There we go, the light's being shut off. You know, a good ground controller will make sure that the traffic flows freely, while, of course, keeping the place safe, keeping the traffic safe. So a lot of the times you will see really nonsensical stuff happening. And sometimes, even worse, is if a plane will get stuck. For example, let's say this guy gets stuck over here, or let's say this guy gets stuck for some reason. Planes will come over here and then just stop, and you'll be like, what are they waiting for? And you will have no idea that they're waiting for this guy to get out, for example, or even worse, they're waiting for a guy over here to start and come around and go through them. I'm not kidding. Because it seems to work in this weird queue system. Look at the amount of people here. Yeah, the game seems to work in this weird queue system where planes are sort of arbitrarily queued, and if they're not the first in the queue, they have to wait, even if the way is clear. I'm not exactly sure that's how it works, but that's how it feels. Sometimes it works. So, you know, to get around these issues, I've learned to build my airports a certain way. I avoid heavy traffic like that. I have two roundabouts over here for these planes, which seems to work fairly well most of the time. You don't want too much of heavy traffic on the taxiway. Look, this guy's waiting now. Perfect example. See? Oh, okay, this guy was parking. Never mind. That's not a perfect example then. But, you know, it's just sometimes infuriating. And also, I was talking about remote stands and how they don't work before. That goes hand in hand with vehicles getting stuck. Remote stands, for some reason, I have only one remote stand over here. And it seems to work for the moment. But they were notorious in my games for always bogging down and bringing the entire airport to a halt. Because the buses, the shuttle buses, which I have parking here, when it's time, will get stuck, and then all the other vehicles will get stuck. And even when I got this one remote stand working, my inspection agents would use this service car. Okay, so they got out of their staff room, they walked around here through security, over here over the pavement, and then got in the car and then drove to this remote stand to inspect the arriving aircraft. That's all fine and dandy. The service car left, and after they were done, the game told me they were stuck. And after like 6 planes, I had like 12 ramp agents all stuck over here because they couldn't, for some reason, get back, despite the fact that the car always arrived. So what I did is something quite unrealistic. I put I put these crosswalks all over this service road. And this is the only way... There we go. And I put a restricted area here. This is the only way I can have service personnel come back on foot because they refuse to use the service car. It looks weird, but that's how it is. It works. And, you know, I don't like using remote stands now because of it. So if I do, I'll have to do something else. I don't know. But, you know, that's one big, giant reason right now that I just cannot recommend you the game. Now, I'm sorry if you were listening to this rant of mine, but don't get me wrong. If I rant about something, it means that I really, really care about it. And I really care about this game. I want it to get, you know, to get this sorted out. I want this pathing issue to be gone and squashed because I think it's just such an amazing simulation / building game. I love it to bits. It's so cool. It's watching, look at this. It's watching your airport be absolutely filled with people. You know that things are working. It might look chaotic. It is a little bit over here, but you know, it might look chaotic, but myself having built this airport, I know that everything right now is working pretty smoothly. You know, the ramp agents are inspecting these planes. Service trucks and everything are going. Baggage is... I think baggage actually is the problem now. Not stuff getting bogged down, even though baggage is arriving here. But let me see. The baggage system. Oh my god. The baggage system... Yeah, it is working. Okay. But the baggage system was an absolute bastard to place. Because it just worked very strangely. I don't know. This is my scanner over here, and this is my baggage destroyer for, you know, bags that are suspicious. But yeah, I mean, if you're very interested in this game and you don't mind the bugs, then yes, go ahead and buy it. It's only going to get better. I mean, right now, I think I've experienced most of the stuff. However, there is a lot more to come. Wait, operations. Here, look. There's going to be catering services, there's going to be cleaning services, and there's going to be de-icing. That's going to be the cool one, because I guess you'll have like a particular spaces somewhere, or maybe even on the taxiway before the runway, you'll have de-icing services come and, you know, spray that stuff on the planes. That's going to be really cool. So, I mean, you know, there's just lots and lots and more stuff being added. And these are medium planes, by the way. There will be large planes as well, but they're not yet available. So, you know, think Airbus A380, for example, and stuff like that. And you'll need even longer runways and such. Even bigger stands. That's going to be really exciting. So, bottom line is, I love this game. It's absolutely brilliant. It's already quite very polished. I would wish for a few more sound effects and such to be actually heard, even though I understand that, you know, once you have an airport of this size, it would all be just bloody saturated with sound effects. But, you know, every now and then an announcement or something, it would be nice. And the big one is the pathing issue. That's definitely the killer right now. Let's see if these... No, these planes will be fine. This guy is waiting for this one. Yeah, the pathing issues are just the killer right now, and I really hope they figure them out. Now, you can press F10, and, you know, this is the debug menu. You can unoccupy all person nodes, all road nodes, or conveyor belt nodes, which does a lot of the times clear up the problems, but it will cause some really weird stuff, like planes going through each other, you know, and it just feels cheap. I shouldn't have to do this. But again, this is early access, and I really hope that they figure this out. And when they do, oh man, this is an early access game, and I already spent like, what, 15 hours playing it or something? It's ridiculous. I love it. It's so nice. But just gotta get rid of the drunk pilots and drivers. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little preview. Sorry about all the rants. And yeah, I'll see you in another preview. MetalCanyon out.